Hello everyone, thank you so much for your purchase on this budgeting tool. I hope it's as useful to you as it is and has been to a lot of people across the world. So I'm going to give you a simple introduction on how to go about using this tool. It's been designed to be very simple to be used by everyone, beginners and advanced level alike. We have different sheets. You have the start here page, you have the dashboard, you have your savings sheet, you have two additional sheets which I call the expense logbook and then the investment page, and then you have your different monthly budgeting sheets. Okay, so I'm going to run you through every single page and then we'll go on from there. The very first important thing to note is that you are only editing what has been highlighted in blue. Anything else will go contrary to how the sheet has been designed and may cause some problems whilst you are using them. There are specific formulas that have been used just to make things easy for you, and so the purpose here is for you to edit just the highlighted portions in blue. All right, if you have any questions, there's an email address you can address your concerns to. The team will work on reaching out to you and helping you with that problem. We go to the dashboard. Here, the first thing to do, you have to enter your savings goals for the year. Assuming you want to save 20,000 cedis, 20,000 US dollars, you put it there as your yearly goal. Okay, there are three different goal slots which I've put there. Some people have, to start investing, to be committed to identifying where their money goes and tracking their expenses. Whatever your goal is for the year, you put it there. You realize the only two columns highlighted are the goals column and the portion where you enter your savings goal. At retirement, how much really do I want to have in my portfolio? You put it there because this is a long-term planning device. All right, we think in the future, we think long term. We have about five different savings slots there. So again, you are highlighting what is in blue. You enter the savings funds, you give it a name. So if you're saving towards your wedding, you're saving for a vacation, you name it as that. If you need an emergency fund, you put it there as well. So those are the three funds. It's very personal. So just what you are saving towards, you put it there. And you should know that ideally you're supposed to have different bank accounts for the different savings you want to achieve in the year. So if it's an emergency fund, you enter your target. At the end of the year, I want to have an emergency fund of so and so. Ideally, should be about 3 to 6 months worth of your major expenses. Okay, and then you save as you go until you reach that point where you're like, okay, my emergency fund is okay. I can divert the money to other funds. The next you enter, after you enter the target, you enter how much you've contributed so far. Because this is going to be the first time you're exposed to this template, it's important to put in how much you have in that emergency fund. Okay, as you go on, you come back, you edit, and then do the same for the other funds. The other portions of this savings page is to enter how much you're going to contribute in a month, and then which bank account is going to go into. Okay, you realize it's important to enter this here because you don't really have to edit when it comes to the monthly budgeting sheet, which you'll see at the end. Getting to the end of the video. There's this page I put in called the expense logbook. This will be a bit tedious for some people, but it's you don't really have to use this like an additional sheet. If you are a type A person who wants to enter every day how much you've spent, this is a tool for you. You're going to enter the date and what really you put in during that day, which payment method was that. Is also important to describe it, so you look back and then you realize really I should have spent or I should not have spent on this so and so. And then yeah, that's what this page is designed to do. The next page, we have the investment or the stocks page. All right, not everyone invest, not everyone knows how to go about stocks, local and foreign stocks, but this page is for those who have started investing or who want to invest. Okay, so there's a portion where you enter the stocks that you have. If you have US stocks, you put it there. If you have liquidity fund, you put it there. There's a portion where you enter which particular stocks you're investing in, which will also appear on the monthly budgeting sheet, so you don't have to enter it every month. All right, as I said, it's been designed to be very simple for you to use. I'll go on to the monthly budgeting sheets and explain what is done there before I come back and then give an advanced teaching on how to use the investment page. All right, so on the monthly budgeting sheet, you have this is just how it's going to appear when you come across the sheet. You have a portion where you put in your income for the month, so your full-time income, you put it there. If you have other income, say side hustles, allowances, everything, you put it there, so you have a cumulative figure for that particular month. You realize that as you are paying for water, you're paying for things, it's going to be deducting from the account as and when you put in that entry. Okay, so we go to our bills. This this portion again is supposed to be very simple. So we've put up some drop down chips, so it's easier to go through. You don't have to now be typing all the time. Okay, so you just click on the drop down, whichever one fits the category, you put it there. Okay, there's a slot for others. If what you use the money for is not here, you can just click on the others. If you also want to type, you can do that. Okay, there's no restriction to go strictly according to the drop down bars. All right, so for bills, it's important to pay them first thing, so you know you are covered. Nobody is going to worry you. So you put in the amounts expected to pay and then how much you actually paid for. Then we go to expenses. Expenses, you don't restrict yourself because those are the things that you can do without. Bills, you have to pay them. By expenses, you can cut down some things. So again, there's a drop down menu bar there for you to choose from. Again, you can type based on your preference. All right, so you put in how much you expect to spend on a particular expense, and then by the time you finish inputting all those details, there's a figure there for you telling you you're expected to spend about 4,000 cedis this month based on what you project. Okay, for this, you don't have to enter how much you pay for everything at the beginning of the month. Okay, most likely at the end of the month, where you sit down and then you assess and see really how much I spend on fuel, how much I spend on this, although I have an expected figure I'm looking at. Okay, so you do that through and through. Then we go on to the savings funds. You realize here, I mentioned earlier that whatever you are inputting in the savings sheet is going to reflect on your monthly budgeting sheet. So you realize, I mentioned emergency fund, vacation fund, and then wedding fund, which I inputted in the savings sheet. You realize it's here. You don't have to type it again. Okay, so in a month, also whatever you entered as how much you're going to contribute to that savings fund in that particular month is appearing here. All right, so based on that, if you really save that amount, you put it there. If you save less or you save more, you put it there as well. Okay, the same with the investments or the stocks. All right, so whatever name you put there as the stocks you are saving towards for the month shows up over there. If you compare it to what you entered earlier, you see it tallies. All right, so you put in all the figures that you spent or you put into that stocks, and then it gives you a cumulative figure as well. All right, so by the time you finish everything, there's also another small column for those who have debts to pay, loans. You took money from somebody and you have to pay, and there's a slot there for you. So if you had to pay about 4,000 cedis for a particular wedding or something, or a car loan or something, you put it there that, oh really, I needed to pay AMA 200 cedis and this month I paid 100 cedis, and it helps you just to track that as well. By the time you finish, this is how the sheet is supposed to look like. It's going to give you a pictorial representation of the percentages and the actual amount you spent. You have a bar chart, you have a pie chart as well. If you're someone who goes according to rules, the 50, 20, 30, whatever rules, you can tell that this month I really didn't do what I was supposed to do. What do I do next month to help me reach my goal? And finally, I'm going to speak on the investment page. So if you've already entered the names of the shares you are holding or the shares you are trying to invest in, the next thing to enter is the market price, the number of units purchased, and then if there's been the current price, there's a change in the price, you also enter that as well. With this page, I don't advise you use it every single day as you would with some of the other pages, because investment is a long-term thing. You don't want to be coming back every day. You probably change your mind 100 times and over if you do that, whether to sell the stocks or to buy more and all that. It's a very slow way to make wealth, and so you don't really expect to go on the sheet every day. Okay, so again, it's going to give you a pictorial representation of which stocks you've saved in, how much you've saved, and then at the end of the day, a cumulative figure, which eventually is even going to appear on the dashboard, okay, as your portfolio value. I hope this was useful and you have no further questions concerning the planner. If you do, we are very receptive. If you send us an email with the email on the start here page, we are going to respond to you in no time. Okay, do not panic. If there's a problem, if you're encountering any problem, just send us an email and we are going to respond to you. Thank you once again, and I hope you recommend this planner to as many people as you know, just so we can build a community that is very proactive with their finances. Bye.